We're scared too. And here are 8 reasons why we're scared to leave the United States and start our new retirement chapter in Mexico. My husband and I sat down the other night and we discussed our fears and concerns with moving to Mexico in early 2026. Check out the video I did about my family's concerns with us moving to another country. There's some useful tips on healthcare planning and real-life healthcare costs and safety and working in Mexico. Uno, perception of Mexicans towards Americans. Our country has just changed presidents, and a new administration is at work to make a lot of changes in the United States, one of which is mass deportations and imposing 25% tariffs on imported goods and services from Mexico. And in my past videos, you'll know that my channel, it's not about politics, and it's not something that I typically discuss in great detail. But there's no denying that there could be potential animosity towards Americans entering and wanting to live in Mexico. And we understand that we will be immigrants and we will be guests in Mexico. And we want to embrace existing cultures without trying to impart our beliefs and ways of doing things that we're accustomed to do. And my hope is that that comes through in our daily interactions with the Mexican people. Dos, bureaucracy. Well, we're going to embrace the Mexican culture and the lifestyle. It doesn't mean that we won't get frustrated with how things are done in Mexico, like having to go and pay our electric bill in person rather than online. We also take time commitments pretty seriously, whereas time is more fluid and flexible in Mexico. So the plumber may come out today or mañana, which doesn't necessarily mean tomorrow, and it shouldn't be taken literally. He may come at some point. We've also already experienced being told one thing according to what's written on the government website regarding our requirements for our consulate visit, only to learn that there are additional requirements that aren't necessarily documented. So every consulate in the United States, and I assume in Mexico, is different, and they have the ultimate say, which may not be documented anywhere. There's crime and scams and corruption that we're going to have to deal with as well, which was also a concern with my family. And we worry about this too. And there are several videos about not taking taxis at the Cancun airport, as the agreed upon price may not be the final price once you arrive at your destination. And that it's always best to arrange transportation in advance through a private company. And I've spoken about this before, in that crime and scams and corruption, it happens everywhere. But it is something that worries us as well when we move to Mexico. Tres, not fitting in or integrating. My husband and I were introverts, and you won't see a lot of my husband on this channel as he doesn't really want to appear on camera. Although we do collaborate on the concept and the verbiage for a lot of these videos. We don't have a lot of friends here, and making friends is something that we are looking forward to when we move to Mexico. You know, walking down to the local market and establishing a routine and conversations with locals, joining other expats for drinks and dinner, and immersing ourselves in Espanol lessons. But what if La Paz isn't the right place for us? What if we have very different opinions from other expats? What if La Paz is too far from the things we need? What if it's too remote or too touristy? We're worried about finding the right balance for us. Cuatro, too much change. I told Dawn the other night that I'm 53. I'm starting to feel like I'm getting set in my ways. I was so adventurous when I was younger. You know, right out of college, I got a job with a company where I was a trainer that traveled all over the United States. I'd come home from one place and I couldn't wait to fly out again and explore another state. And I saw so much of the United States, and I did so many things, like seeing snow for the first time in New Mexico and attempting to ski in Colorado to driving big rig RVs and stopping to pick cotton alongside the road, to going out on yachts on Lake Michigan, and even meeting Norm from Cheers on my day off. But now I'm more of a homebody. I typically stay within a 5 mile radius of my house. I still like to go and travel and do things and go places, but it's not like it used to be. Maybe that just comes with age, too much change when you're in your 50s and 60s. It can seem overwhelming. Not to mention, we don't move or have the stamina of our youth. And I wonder if it's going to be too much for us. Can we adapt, or will we want to come back to the familiar? Will we have a hard time communicating and learning Spanish? Will moving to another country be too much of a hurdle? And as my husband said the other night, we might just be too set in our ways, and this could be a good reason to change things up. Cinco. Our pets' remains and our remains. We've lost a few pets over the years, and I've incorporated their ashes into beautiful vases in our living room, where to visitors, they just blend in with the decor, but to us, they're with us every night as we relax and watch TV. And will we be able to bring our pets' ashes into Mexico? Should we maybe incorporate the ashes into jewelry instead and spread the rest in our backyard garden so that they will always be in the place that they've lived, but they'll still be part of our lives? I don't know what the right answer is. Please comment below if you have any suggestions. I'm also worried about our living pets and what should happen if they pass while we are in Mexico. Will we be able to get private cremation like we have here and be able to get their ashes? And since we're on this topic, what happens if Don or I die while living in Mexico? We have yet to look into cremation and burial services there, as well as transporting our remains back to the United States, should we want to. What kind of bureaucracy will we have to go through as a grieving spouse to get our spouse's remains back to the United States? 6. Missing family and surroundings. So I've talked about the things we'll miss and the things that we won't miss in another video. Go ahead and check it out. I'll link it below. My husband fears that I might miss my family and the stores that I've become familiar with over the years, the concerts that we won't be able to fly back for, among other things. He worries that missing these things, they might be unbearable and end up making me miserable living in Mexico. And then what do we do? My mom recently inquired as to if we'll keep our house as a base to come back to if things don't work out there. But here's the thing with our house. It's over 40 years old. We're getting older and we don't want to have to keep fixing the things that keep breaking, because things do break. And in another 5 years, we'll have to replace the AC all over again, which cost us $10,000 the first go around. And while it's nice having the equity in the house, we're done with paying taxes and insurance and maintenance on an older house. And these things don't get cheaper to fix as time goes on. 7. Items that we may need to leave behind. My husband has a man cave in our house. We have 2 living rooms in our house, and his office is attached to one of the living rooms. And it's full of guitars and workbenches with paints and supplies for his hobbies, other musical instruments and tools and equipment. He even has a bar in his man cave. Before Mexico became a retirement option for us, Don was looking forward to having a side business and enjoying his retirement, working on the things that were fun for him, being creative and working on his own time and doing the stuff that he loves while he waited for me to retire in another 6 years when I could access my 401k. Moving to Mexico means that we have to pare down, and we're leaving behind a lot of these items that he was so looking forward to using for his business. And it means looking at his business differently going forward and becoming less hands-on with tangible stuff. What will his side business and his hobbies look like when we're in Mexico? 8. Running out of money. Well, we seem to have a good solid plan that we're going to talk to a financial advisor about before we move. Will it be enough? I mean, we think so, but there's always the unknown. What if we set aside for medical each year? What if it's not enough? Should we have a major medical issue and we're not 65 and we don't qualify in the United States for Medicare just yet. What happens if Mexico becomes unaffordable or changes their guidelines and we no longer qualify for residency after the first year? They could very well impose their own tariffs, which could make it even more expensive for us to live in Mexico. We're also worried about my Social Security. I'm not eligible to take Social Security until 2034. Will it still be around for me? Will I still be able to rely on it in addition to my 401k account? Will the full age requirement change, thus reducing my benefit even more when I do take Social Security at 62 or later? And another money issue that concerns me is when my paychecks stop. I've been working since I was 16 years old, and I've been mostly increasing my salary and climbing up that ladder for 37 years. Not since before I started working in my teens have I known a time where I haven't had a steady paycheck. And all of it will stop when we move to Mexico. And now, although we'll be living on my husband's money until I can access mine, which I'm extremely grateful for because it allows me to retire early and enjoy what precious years that we have left together, I know myself. I have a hard time asking for money from anyone. I'm fiercely independent when it comes to finances. And if I need something, I just go and buy it. I'm sure we're going to work out a new routine of handling our finances and everything is going to be fine. It's just getting past that mindset of not having a steady paycheck that I really need to wrap my head around. So there you have it. Yes, we are scared and we're worried too of making a big life change by selling almost everything, packing up what little we'll take with us, and moving with our 5 pets into a new country and a new way of life. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe so I can continue to bring you more content. Hasta luego, friends.